G'day guys, my name's Brett. I'm the podiatrist at Dubbo Specialist and Rehab Centre. We are in 205 Darling Street in Dubbo. We've been here 3 years. My background is sports medicine. Been in Sydney 25 years, and now I'm in Dubbo, living here in Dubbo. Relocated about 10 years ago. We have put a centre together here with sports physio, podiatry and doctors. We have a chiro, we have dietitian, we have speech pathology, a number of other things that are available in one centre. We've got the Dubbo Stampede coming up in 3 weeks, so what I'm going to concentrate on today is heel pain and how to get you through to the event if you're having trouble. If you're 35 or over, you've probably got a little bit of pain lingering anyhow. So what we're going to do is just to show you how to get through that in the next 3 weeks and then beyond. We're just going to talk about things you can do yourself. You can do some strappings. You can, probably a bit late to change your footwear right now this close to an event. However, there are some things you can do in your footwear. We'll talk about that. We have a shoe list on the Dubbo Stampede page, which I put together about a month ago, and you can also refer to that as well, which I'll show you how to do. And just a couple of simple modifications in your own shoes if you can't get to a specialist somewhere. Alright, so what we're going to also do is we're going to use an old technique of strapping, which you'll see in most clinics, physio, podiatrist, sports med. Then there's a new tape out called Strap It Tape version 2, which you won't see very often unless you're in the elite field. It's not really readily available, but it will be. I have it, and I'm going to show you how to use it. But basically it's going to be a heel pain prevention case study, if you like, about 10 to 15 minutes. Alright, so fascia pain, plantar fascia tears, probably the most common in the acute stage. Then it'll work back into the tendon, and that becomes a bit more chronic, a little bit more harder to shift. Fat pad atrophy or a contusion, we won't really go on to that one just yet. Nerve impingements, medial calcaneal, lateral plantar nerves, and then heel spurs. Alright, so we're going to look at some shoes. If you're running an event, you've probably got rotational shoes. If you're running in one shoe in particular, a bit late to rotate a new shoe in now, so just stick with what you got. And we're just going to look at pitch. So if you've got heel pain, Achilles pain or calf pain, we're looking at shoe pitches. This is a Asics Nimbus. I cut them up. And it's 12mm pitch, so it's 12mm from heel through to forefoot. So that's quite important for your Achilles because it attaches to the same bone your plantar fascia does. So if your plantar fascia is getting pain along the mid-arch, then your Achilles might be decelerating too low. Now when you look at that, this is a Brooks Cascadia, and that's a 10mm pitch. Now in my shoe list you can go through all that those shoes and you can see which shoes are different pitches. Generally the highest pitch you're going to find is a 12mm pitch, and then the 10mm pitch is really common as well. Hoka shoes are around about a 5mm pitch. So for example, if you are running in a Hoka at the moment and you're struggling with some heel pain or Achilles pain, maybe, even though they're a rocker system, they are very good, some feet can't tolerate them. So if we turn the camera around, this is my Foot Medics guide. It's on the Stampede website. You can just go to the Stampede website and go to news, and you can click on my guide, which will bring up this. So this is my guide. So we're just going to go through a couple of things here. So say you're running in the Hoka Arahi or whatever they call it. It's 5mm pitch. Reasonably heavy at 369 grams. And forget about the price for the moment. However, you might say, well, I can actually do something myself by elevating your heel. So you might want to change to, say, maybe a foundation if you're really heavy, or you might go into the Kiano, that's a 12mm pitch. You can go into a Vapor, or a really common shoe is the Adrenaline. The Adrenaline's common because it's got a really good ride and it's only 310 grams roughly. Things that compete with that shoe are the Asics GT. It's a 10mm pitch, really good in the variance and widths, and it's about 330 grams. So you can go through this list and have a good look at what will fit in your category. Just quickly, we'll go down to the lightweights. So if you want to rotate a speed shoe in, then this is the list to look at. It's not really designed for the heavy pronators or heavy supinators. However, you will get some miles out of them. They won't last as long, but the pitches are generally lower. So if you do have calf pain, don't get caught going to the low pitch shoes. So stick with the 10 mil and you'll do much better. Price wise, again, that's up to you how you shop. All right, just one to mention, the Nike are bringing out some really cool stuff, so keep an eye on that if you're a neutral runner mostly, and they've got some really responsive midsoles and they are light. Okay, so that's your shoe pitch. So shoe pitch is pretty important. So what we're going to look at now is a little bit of materials you can put in your shoes. You can't really get this stuff from the chemist or anywhere else. It's a medical grade pour-on. Awesome stuff. We use this a lot in clinic. So what we do with this is we put it in your heel. So when you hit the top of that, you will bounce off it. So you don't have that traction pull on your Achilles tendon, giving you a repetitive strain. This stuff, most of you, if you have a heel pain, would have seen this. It's a heel lift that I still use, a lot of physios use, depending what you've got. But we generally try to get you up off the ground a little higher, so that's 6 mil. However, it doesn't have a lot of rebound, so it doesn't give you a lot of assistance, but it is an option, and you can get them yourself. Then you can do simple things by wedging heels and elevating heels. That's a tri-laminar. That has to be custom made though. It doesn't take long to make a flat bed. You pull the liner out of your shoe and you replace it with that. Really easy to do. So you would pull the liner out and pop that in. Alright, so that's the modifications for footwear. This is not an exhaustive modification at all. We're just trying to get you a cheat to get you through an event in 3 weeks. You do have time, if you've got a podiatrist locally, to make you up a pour-on. I would make it at least 6 mil up to 10 mil, and you'll get a really good bouncy ride. This stuff is not light though. It will have a bit of a weight penalty with it. So if you're doing the half or more, you might want to have something a little bit lighter weight than that. Okay, so now we're going to go into strappings and what we can use for strapping tape. Strapping tapes have come a long way. Everyone remembers this stuff. This is awesome tape. It's rigid tape. It's really good for holding joints together. However, it can give you skin allergies, so you can't really leave it on for that long. You can line your feet now with pretty cool products. There's a 38 mil, which nearly everyone uses. I use 50 mil. Just gives you better grip, and it's a stronger tape. Harder to use around corners. Anyhow, these are the two tapes you want to use. You'll get that one at the chemist really easy. You'll have to source that one probably somewhere else. Okay, now we'll just leave rock tape out. I will go back to it later. And then we've got the under tapes, which are these things. So Hyperfix, Strap It, all those sorts of tapes that are hypoallergenic, and what they do is they just keep the heavy trapping tape away from your skin. All right. Okay, so Kate's holding my camera, so she's going to be just stand by for a minute. I'll just get this over here. Otherwise, we'll run out of battery. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the traditional tape first, and I'm going to elevate Kate's foot. So Kate's background is an elite rower, and she's also got a sub 4 hour marathon under her belt. Moderate pronator, and she's currently wearing a New Balance. So what we're looking at is we want to take the pressure off this fascia. So when we're thinking fasciitis, we've got to remember the mechanics of it. So we've got an Achilles tendon pulling on the same bone that a lot smaller muscle is attached to. Now that's all part of our propulsion mechanism. So we wanted to make sure if you've got a fascia tear from overtraining or an old injury, or plantar fascial pain or a spur or even a nerve impingement, we want to take the pressure off that by stabilising that medial column of the foot and assisting this area. Achilles tendon, we won't focus on that just yet, but there is a part of this tape that will work for it as well. Alright, So, mechanics out of the road. Let's start looking at how we tape a foot. Feet are sweaty. Some feet have allergies to tape, so we've got to be careful of that. And also, you can have eczema and other things like that. So you just got to be a little bit mindful of that. So, sweaty feet. If you're doing a half, a 10, anything like that, you're going to get sweaty. So, even in winter. We use this stuff, or I use this stuff. I'm not the only one that uses it. It's really good. It creates a bit of a barrier, and it is a mild adhesive, but it's cold. So make sure you warm the patient. All right, so we just spray mainly the anchor points like that. Now I'm going to use Hyperfix. I use the 4-inch, or in new measurements it's 100mm. Straight across the front, don't get too precious about it. Okay, now I'm a mess. I'm just going to drop this tape on the covers on the floor. Don't do that in your clinic or at home, unless you're prepared to clean it up. Alright, so straight across the front. So this is basically an anchor. It's really good, it's stretchy, so it'll contour to the foot. Make sure you get all the creases out of it underneath, not so important on top. Don't worry about the little toe. Alright, that's our anchor tape. So now, I'm going to make this really simple. So I'm basically going to do a 5 tape strapping and then we'll lock it off. So by the 5 tapes, just follow me in how this is attached and you'll be able to do this at home, or you can get someone else to do it for you at home either. It's not hard. Okay, so what we do, if we just tilt Kate's leg out, we're going to find just behind that 5th joint, you'll see the knuckle there. It's not a technical term, but it's a really good marker. And to just behind this knuckle, that joint there, rip it, and don't push it in, or don't pull it rather, just tap it on, and then just push it in lightly. Having the foot relaxed is not a bad idea. If you dorsiflex it, it's not a really good idea for the tape. It'll become quite inaccurate when you step on it. So just let them hold their foot like that. A lot of people will disagree with that. I've got 25 years of doing it. That's the way I do it, and I get good results. So make up your own mind. Okay, do that twice. Round we go. Just a smidge lower. You can see how that tapes round about 1/4 inch lower, or 6mm in new terms, showing my age. Alright, get most of the creases out, again not too precious. Okay, now this particular one is the tape that's going to hold the foot for the longer term. So that'll get you probably through 5Ks, no troubles, and you can probably wrap that up. However, we want a diagonal tape. So you can measure it. I've just been doing it a long time, so I know what sort of length I want. Now we want to go just behind that joint. So if that point of the tape is pointing on the knuckle, then we're going to go in behind. So tape. So Kate will show you that. In behind over to the corner of your heel if you like, and then we're going to push that in so it's nice and still. Alright, so that's 3 bits of tape. Pretty bunched up when you're trying to hold your foot up like that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So we've got 2 more bits of tape to do. Now this will get you through an event just like that. However, it'll slip each end, right? So what we want to do is I put a long tape. Now this one goes pretty much down the centre of your foot. So if I steal that off Kate for a minute, from the centre of your foot down to your heel and push it in. Okay, handing back to Kate. Alright, that's 4 bits of tape. And the 5th one literally just goes through the middle of your foot and holds it there. And that's all you have to do if you want to do it yourself. However, in a clinical setting, I'll add another one to the forefoot. Don't go too close to the heel because you could have a spur or an impingement there. And then what I'd also do is grab my stretch tape anyone who's going over the half an hour, you really want to put this extra piece on. Around the top, over, push it in, and let them go. Alright, so now we're going from quite a really unstable medial column in Kate's foot to quite strong. Now you'd want to take that at least an hour before the event so it gets a little bit of stretch and comfort, and then in a shoe you'll have the pitch height as well to help and assist. Alright, now that's one taping. So that's the old-fashioned way of doing things, and it still works really well, but it's pretty uncomfy. So what we're going to do is show you another one. Kate's still got a shoe on, but she can get that off. And this is a really cool material. So it's basically a TheraBand in a tape, and we've been waiting for this sort of tape for a long time. And to the point where we actually used to tape TheraBands to patients' feet. Alright. We were talking sweaty feet before. There's another one. All right, so what we're doing is we basically want to assist the fascia. Now, if we remember how tight that was, see how loose that joint is? And now see how strong that joint is. What we want to do with this is basically assist the muscle and propel, if you like, or reduce the amount of force coming through the Achilles tendon into the calcaneus, loading up the fascia. So what we want to do is basically put something under there that gives it a bit of stretch and rebound. Now, it is not rock tape. Now, rock tape has its place, but if I just peel this back, rock tape will lose its memory. So you can see the buckling in the tape. So it's good for, for what it's designed for, so proprioceptive feedback. All right, so keeping that in mind, this is the new stuff. So, this is a TheraBand. It is awesome stuff. All right, so one layer. That's a 5mm, 50mm rather width. And in plantar fascia, I'll generally use a. I'm actually going to reuse this piece, a 75mm, and I'll show you how we do it. All right, this is the goods. Grip It version 2. Awesome stuff. Flesh and black. Pick your colour, doesn't really matter. Alright, so pre-prepared one of these. So basically, a lot of people talk about make sure you're round the corners. Yeah, that's true, but you can square them off like that, just as long as they don't have a corner to grab or lift. Alright, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go from the front of Kate's foot up in behind into the back of the heel. And that'll give her a nice little bit of elastic assistance. Now, you got to know your weight. So it's a bit of a play with the densities. Oh, not so much the densities, it's the layers in this thing. So what we do is we peel off the layers. And we put it on top of the other one, and I'll show you this in a sec. Gets a bit fiddly. So we make, basically what we're doing is we're creating a double layer of tape. Alright, now it's a bit of heat responsive, so you can smooth it out with your fingers. So now we've got a double layer. Alright, now only because Kate's just taken the shoe off, we'll use this again. Make her jump a bit because it's nice and cold. Okay, so we want to hold the foot up a little bit on this case. Still plantar flexed, if you can hold that there. That'll be great. Really good adhesive. We're going right up to the front of the plantar. I'll show you this in a minute. And then we're going to give it a good pull. So we want it to hold, so give it a good yank, and this is subjective, so whatever strength you think is ideal. Alright, so now we've got an elastic band in the plantar fascia. Okay, now that's 2 layers. Now we're coming back to my 50mm. And what we want to do is we want to put this on the medial side. So medial is basically the inside of the foot, so we want to cover, don't put it there because you'll create a crease under the first metatarsal, make sure it's in this little gap. Alright, now we're going nice, good bit of tension and across and around. Alright, now I'm going to steal that phone off Kate for a second.
Sorry. There you go.
Okay, so what we're looking at now is we're looking at a medial band of strength, which is, this is the band of the fascia that cots the most load because of this propulsion joint. Okay, now what we do, lock, lock, and let it go. Alright, so this is stretchy, this stuff, so you can lock it with that, but it's not really required. This is more expensive than this, so we use that. So 1, 2. You can lock through the centre as well if you wanted to. And I would if I was running on it, to be quite honest. I would put 3 locks in there, which we might do in fact. All right. Front lock, straight across the top, round the top. This is stretchy, so you can put a bit of pressure on it. And we will put one through the centre, so we'll use this one for the centre. Bit of pressure. And the last one will go around the back of the heel so the heel doesn't lift. The good thing about this tape too, when you put it up around the heel, is if you're going for a long run, you're resisting any blistering around the back of the heel anyhow, so it's basically a default protection. Alright, relax your foot there, Kate. So now you've got a spring. That's awesome. Righto guys, that should get you through your stampede and some training. This is easy to do yourself. You can't readily get this stuff available yet, but if you've got a sports med physician, they should have some. We do in Dubbo. If you can't find any, come and grab some from us. I buy it by the box. This is easy to do too, so if you want to use this as a protection for your training or the event, just jump online. This will be on our Facebook page, I believe, via our website as well. If you want to remember, if you want to change shoes or look at shoes or rotate another shoe in, just jump onto the Stampede website, click onto my Footmedics article, which will show you the shoe list, and then you can just have a look at what shoes are comparable. Now remember, if you're having an injury and you're trying to train through it and it's worsening, you're going to have to taper back a little bit and start to do something like this. Alright, signing off. See you later.